Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to Bamus Studiyar. I'm here with another interesting topic, that is basic metallurgical operations, and this belongs to chapter number 16, which is all about chemical industries. Now, when we go for the basic definitions of metallurgical operations, we come across to a first basic one, which is minerals. As you know, that solid, which is naturally occurring material found beneath the earth's surface, which contains the compound of metal in the combined state along with earthly impurities, are called minerals. For example, we are having the minerals of iron, which is in the form of hematite and magnetite. The formula of hematite is Fe2O3, while that of magnetite is Fe3O4. When we're talking about the ore of aluminium, that is the most common is bauxite, which is Al2O3.2 water of crystallization. As you know, that water of crystallization is represented by putting a dot along with the oxides, or in case of salts, if water crystallization is the part of the salt, then you are putting the dot, and along with that the number of water molecule is written. Another important thing is ore. And ore is those minerals from which metal can be extracted commercially at comparatively low rate with minimum effort are called ores of the metal. For example, we are talking about the ore of copper, which is tacopyrite, which is CuFeS2, and copper glans, which is Cu2S. Likewise, the one point which should keep in your mind is all ores are minerals. But it's not necessary that all minerals are ore. That means it's not necessary that all minerals are rich in metals, from which metal can be extracted at low cost and minimum effort. So, third is the gangue. Gangue is all sort of impurities, whether it's earthly impurities or the other impurities which are associated with the minerals are called as gangue. Metallurgy is the process through which you can extract metals from its ore on a large scale from its ore by physical or chemical means. Either physical means that either you can go for the techniques, or the chemical means that either you can go for some chemical reaction to extract and ensure the purification of that metal. That how, because there are certain impurities which can be simply extracted by the physical means, but somehow there are the certain impurities which need a proper, you can say, treatment or the chemical reaction to be get extracted. Okay, next we proceed towards the basic metallurgical steps. Number one is the mining of the ore. Second is pulverization. That means you have to convert it into powdered form, and this is accompanied by means of jaw crushers and the grinding process by means of grinders, so that the bigger stones can be converted into smaller ones. Third step is the concentration of the ore, which is most important. Then extraction of metal, which is followed with the process of reduction. And the last is the refining through electrolysis. Now we proceed towards first step, which is most important, that is concentration. The process of removal of gangue, which is including all sort of the impurities, whether it's earthly impurities or all sort of impurities from the ore, is technically known as concentration, and the purified ore is the concentrate. It means that now over here you have to use some physical techniques to remove all sort of earthly impurities. And over here we discuss three different methods, but make sure and keep this thing in your mind that it is not applied for all ores. These in general we are discussing the three methods, and we have to apply it according to the nature of the ore. So let's proceed. First method is gravity separation. Second is a new one for you, that is froth flotation process, and third is electromagnetic separation. Now concentration, which is followed with gravity separation, is The basic principle worked on the difference in the densities of the metallic ore and the gangue particles. The one which is more denser is keeping at the bottom of the water, and another which is heavier, lighter, comes at the top. So in this method, what you do is that you have to place the powdered heavy metal bearing settle down on agitation in the stream of water, while the lighter gangue particles are carried away by water. And this is the whole theme, where the lighter ones, they are carried away, and the heavier ones, they are settled down. So in our daily life, we are applying this example while washing the pulses or while washing the rice, that when we are going to wash the pulses and the rice, we see that the heavier rice or the pulses particles settle down, and the light particles of the impurities in the form of sands or small particles, they come at the top, which can be easily skimmed away. Second most important process is froth flotation process. Now we are having a look on froth flotation principle, and it based on the wetting characteristics of ore and the gangue particles with oil and water. Over here we are using the two combination of solvents. As you know that oil and water are immiscible. So what you do is that you have to wet the ore with oil and the gangue with water. And this whole process is agitated with compressed air. Hence, oil particles, they come out being lighter, they are surrounded by the oil, and they come out at the top, which from where they can be easily skimmed off. The last method is electromagnetic separation, in which the basic principle is based on the separation of magnetic ore from the non-magnetic particles by using the electromagnet or magnetic separation. This example is very common for those ores of metals which are having the magnetic property in them. It is not applicable for all the metals. This method is specifically for that method which are having a magnetic property in them, like tungsten, in case of wolframite. And over here, if you see the picture and concentrate on the picture, you see that from the top you are having a crushed ore. This crushed ore is falling on the magnetic belt, and these particles are passing, it's carrying the ore particles as well as the gangue particles with them. So this belt is rolling on two rollers, in which one of the topmost or the roller in yellow color is magnetic, while another roller is simple. And below these two rollers you are placing the two buckets. One is for the collection of magnetic ore and another is for the collection of non-magnetic ore. So you have observed this thing, that non-magnetic ore, they fall first because they don't feel any sort of attraction for the magnetic belt. But that magnetic metal is having some attraction with the magnetic belt, so is get attracted, and later on when it comes out of the circle or of that electromagnetic field, it then collected in the second bucket. So overall, I just read and just discuss once again with you that the powder ore is dropped over the leather or the magnetic belt, moving over two rollers, one of which is magnetic, and the non-magnetic falls first because it doesn't feel any sort of attraction for it, and the magnetic ore gets attracted and falls further